All right, good day, everybody, and welcome to Headline Hits with LW. Today is March 14th, 2022. It's Monday morning, Monday early afternoon for some of you on the East Coast. So welcome. A lot of things in the news, some things that are pretty interesting. Some things that it just makes me scratch my head and go, you can't make this stuff up. So let's hit the first headline here. This is from Breitbart, and it is ex transgender people celebrate their detransformation. Detransformation. Women and men use social media to share their stories over the weekend about how they quit the transgender ideology being pushed by teachers, progressives, corporations, and President Joe Biden's far left government deputies. The young people who quit the ideology recognize that they cannot transition to the opposite sex, and so they detransitioned from the ideology. Now, there are many stories in this article here where young men and women have reasons why they decided to become a transgender. My name is Grace. I have detransitioned on the left, shortly after top surgery in 2017. This was the darkest time of my life. On the right, me recently, life goes on and life gets better. Hashtag DTrans Awareness Day. Um, so there's just a ton of stories here. When I was 15 and lonely, I hated my body. I got sucked into gender ideology online. My school encouraged me, and I was easily prescribed a high dose of testosterone at 18, and it was very damaging to my body. Here's another story from Michelle. I transgendered in 2010 when I was 22 years old and detransitioned in 2020. And this young man here says, I am Allie. I started taking um, testosterone at 18 because I was not fitting in with all the other girls. So I thought I'd make a better man instead. I was diagnosed with autism later, and that makes sense now. So just many stories of these poor young kids who they were groomed. They were groomed by schools, they were groomed by teachers, social media, pushing this ideology of transgenderism. And it's starting to backfire. It's starting to fold back up on them. And it's not looking good for the ideology because a lot of people are speaking out. And I encourage those young people to speak out because I think people need to hear their stories. All right, let's hit the next headline and let's talk about Russia, Moscow. Moscow warns of arrests, seizures, confiscations against Western companies leaving Russia. What are they talking about? Well, they're talking about Coca-Cola, Walmart, and the rest of them. The Russian government on Sunday reportedly threatened foreign companies who plan to withdraw from the nation. They could have their staff members arrested and assets seized as Moscow seeks to mitigate the economic impact of the sanctions. So it goes further to say, it starts talking about some of the companies that they're focused on right now. And they also say that the Wall Street Journal put out a article with allegations, and the Russian embassy, the Russian news said fake news, fake news. So they're putting out some stuff that is not true. Here's some of the companies that they're focused on right now. They're focused on Coca-Cola, IBM, Procter and Gamble, and McDonald's. And those companies have declined to make comment, but they have given them a very firm warning that if they leave the country and try to hurt Russia anymore with these sanctions and with these private companies saying that they are going to leave Russia, including KFC and Pizza Hut, that they're going to come in and round people up, I guess, and take assets. So I don't think Russia's messing around. So good luck to you woke companies out there that think you're going to, I guess, hurt Russia. I think you're going to get hurt more than any of them. So let's talk about the Democrat midterms. Midterm chief Sean Patrick, we are the problem, end quote. Democrat midterm campaign chief Representative Sean Patrick Maloney, a Democrat from New York, over the weekend in Philadelphia said his party is the problem as to why they are having trouble relating to voters. So he goes on further to say that people think that we're too divisive. We're too focused on cultural issues. They think that we're preachy. They think that we act like we know better than parents when it comes to their kids in school. And he added, Democrats appear to be noticing their changes of holding the majority through the midterms are not great. So they're running scared right now, and rightfully so. But this idiot goes further to say, now listen to this. However, Maloney, as the parties seem to want to focus on President Joe Biden and embrace Biden's style, according to the Post, even though his poll numbers have been tanking over the past year, but not all the members agree with his Biden style assessment. He goes further to say that he is that person that in many ways we need to become, end quote, from Maloney, about the president's interaction with voters. Now, listen to this. If there's a kid with a stutter, the president's going to fall all over him. What? He's going to fall all over him? If there's a cop or a fireman who's having a rough time, Big Joe's going to wrap his arms around him. What? Why would you wrap your arms around another man? And I'll add this. If there's a woman's scalp out there that needs to be sniffed, Joe's your guy. So let's follow that example, Democrats. Absolutely. You're right on target. All right. Here's the last couple of headlines. Now, I am making this one up, but it is kind of funny. Gas prices are so high that Tom Brady comes out of retirement just to fill his tank in his big SUV. Yeah, I made that one up. But listen to this. He is really coming out of retirement. That was going across Facebook all weekend, that gas prices were so high that Tom Brady was coming out of retirement. They also claim that gas prices are so high that coronavirus can't fly. Can't make this stuff up. But really, Tom Brady unretires to rejoin the Bucks for the 2022 season. All-star quarterback Tom Brady has reversed his decision to retire and announced on Sunday that he will go for his 23rd season in the NFL. For the quote, for the past 2 months, I've realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love my teammates. I love my supportive family. They make it all possible. I'm coming back for my 23rd season in Tampa. Unfinished business, end quote, is what he tweeted on Sunday. Like him, love him, hate him. I mean, the guy has got 7 Super Bowl titles under his belt. He's got 7 rings. He's an amazing quarterback. Yeah, he's had a lot of different, I don't know, controversies in his career, but you got to give it to the guy, man. He is one of the best of all time for sure. And like him, love him. He's coming back. All right, let's talk about some looming elephants in the room. And what's going on over in Europe and around the world. So, a populist leader says green politicians closing nuclear plants are Putin's useful idiots. And that's coming out of Sweden here. Populist Sweden Democrats SD leader Jimmy Occasions has slammed European green politicians, blaming their policies for making Europe reliant on Russian energy and enriching the country. So he goes on to say that it's their problem for the situation that Europe is in right now, and that if they would have just pushed this Green New Deal and taken these power plants, these nuclear power plants offline that are supposedly dependent on natural gas, then Russia wouldn't have all of this control over Europe right now. That's what he's claiming. The government blames Putin prices, but the fact is about 55% of fuel prices are taxed. So they're taxing the heck out of these fuel costs, but yet they want to blame Putin for everything that's going bad over in Europe right now. Let's move on to the next article here because it kind of ties into this. Now, check this out. I found this very, very interesting. Germany ignores looming energy crisis to close all nuclear power plants. What's that all about? Germany will close all of its nuclear power plants by the end of this year, despite the nation's already crippling addiction to Russian natural gas. While there has been claims Germany would U-turn on its hardline anti-nuclear policy in light of the uh, interference in the Ukraine conflict, officials have now confirmed on Tuesday that it will keep to schedule and shutter all remaining atomic splitting power plants by the end of this year. What is that going to do to Europe? What is that going to do to the power grid there? I don't know. What's their backup here? So we totally agree that the construction of electricity networks, LNG terminals, and renewable energy must be done at Tesla speed, end quote, referring to the quick construction of Elon Musk's car factory in their country. So Elon threw up a manufacturing company there for Tesla and record speed, and that's what they're wanting to do with this new LNG and these power plants to get these nuclear power plants offline. I don't know. That's Germany for you. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. All right, let's talk about the idiot of the day. Um, so nuclear threat that can change our climate. No kidding. I'm glad that you pointed that out for us, Captain Obvious. The Atlantic ridiculed for warning nuclear war would wreck our climate. Our climate. Well, some very smart people here. A nuclear war would be disastrous for the Earth's climate, according to a recent piece that in the Atlantic that drew harsh criticism for its focus on the harms posed to the environment by potential nuclear exchange results from the current conflict in Ukraine. Now, for one, I don't think anybody, in my opinion, is going to push any button to cause any nuclear war because once one button's pushed, they're all going to be pushed. And I think any leader of the world realizes they can't do that. Okay. That doesn't mean that a crazy can't get their hands on something like that and do a dirty bomb somewhere. That's always looming for any country, right? But this idiot goes on to say um, that even if a nuclear war would kill tens of millions of people, it would be more. It would do more harm to our climate. Who cares about the tens of millions of people that died? He's more worried about the climate. He goes on to say that fossil fuels are our biggest threat, that cars and coal and oil consumption is our biggest threat to our climate. And he goes on to say, which is a lie, it was an awful policy that Trump put in that would lead to more oil consumption for decades. He also said that Trump's policy also was implemented to weaken the country's fuel economy standards in all of our vehicles. That's the furthest thing from the truth. That's a lie. He's trying to make it out to say that Trump was in there for the money, for our natural resources. He also goes on to say that the foreign policy, specifically nuclear war, that Trump's policy was basically inciting this kind of war that they're looking at right now. And a no-fly zone in Ukraine would definitely result in an open war between the US and Russia, and with a likely chance of nuclear exchange that would ultimately prove disastrous for our climate. And that it would be worse than the climate and the energy policy that Donald Trump ever proposed. Now, this guy is a maniac, and even some of his own colleagues out there are saying that he's out of his damn mind for even writing an article that suggests this. I thought it was interesting because these people are so far off their rocker that they cannot see what's really going on. All they care about is the Green New Deal. All they care about is getting rid of fossil fuels and getting rid of our vehicles and trying to push us all over into electric cars, windmills, and solar power. These guys have no idea what that would do to our economy, what that would do to our world. They just want to push, push, push this agenda. So anyway, that is the headline hits for today. I'm glad that you guys joined us. And you know what? We will be back this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Podbean. If you guys want to join us over there, I'd love to have you. We got a great conversation that we're going to do this afternoon over on Podbean. And we'll be back later to this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So you guys have a blessed day, and we'll catch you on the next one.